Alright guys, so we're going to get the quadratic rule from a graph. Okay, so guys, here in A, well, we can clearly see what the turning point is. Okay, the turning point is 0, 0. Is 0, 0. So that gives us our H and our K. Okay, so the best thing to do is to start with the turning point formula, or the form. So y equals A times x minus h squared plus k. Okay, so then we substitute our h and our k in, and we get y equals a times x minus 0 squared plus 0. So all we have is y equals a times x squared. Okay, well, we need to find out what a is. So to find out what a is, we substitute in the second point, or the point that we're given. Okay, so we're going to solve for a. And we're going to sub in to 5. Okay, so 5 is our y. Okay, so 5 equals a times, 2 squared. Okay, so 5 equals 4a. And obviously, guys, we have to divide both sides by 4. So a equals 5 on 4. Okay, so what's our formula? Okay, our equation, so y is going to equal 5 on 4 times x squared. Okay, so that's the first one. Okay, the second one. Okay, again, we have a turning point. Okay, so we have an h and a k. So B, turning point equals 0, 3. Therefore, h equals 0, k equals 3. Okay, so we're going to sub in. Okay, so basically we know that y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So we're going to sub in h equals 0 and k equals 3. Okay, so y equals a times x minus 0 squared plus 3. Y equals ax squared plus 3. Okay, so now we're gonna find a by subbing in our other point, which is negative 3, 1. And guys, remember, that's your x, that's your y. Okay, I write those above sometimes because I do run into trouble by making silly errors of subbing the wrong ones in. Okay, so we need to substitute 1 in for y. So 1 is going to equal a times negative 3 squared plus 3. Okay, so negative 3 squared is 9, so that's 9a plus 3. Okay, I need to subtract 3 from both sides, so negative 2 equals 9a. Okay, we could divide both sides by 9, so a equals negative 2 on 9. And that gives us y equals negative 2 on 9 x squared plus 3. Okay, the next two. Okay, guys, this time on this one here, it doesn't identify the turning point, but it does give us the two solutions. Okay, so one solution is x equals 0. So solutions, or the x-intercepts, are x equals 0 and x equals 3. So we can say that y equals a times x. Now what goes in these brackets? Okay, so I need these brackets to be 0 when I substitute one of these solutions in, or one of these x-intercepts in. Okay, so I'm going to substitute this guy into the first bracket. So if I substitute 0 in for x, well, I can't have anything else in here, because if I do, this bracket won't be equal to 0. But when I substitute 0, x equals 0 into this bracket here, as I wrote it, x minus 0, this whole bracket becomes 0, and that gives us a y value of 0. That gives us a solution. Okay, here, if I substitute 3 in for this x. Well, I need a negative 3 here to make this bracket value 0. Okay, so if I simplify this, I have a times x minus 3. Okay, so that's where I'm at right now. Now, obviously, guys, I have to use the second point here. Okay, so I'm going to sub in. Sorry, I want to find a. So that's the point I'm going to sub in. Okay, so I want to find a by subbing in -1, 8 on my second point. Okay, so that's my x, that's my y. Okay, so y becomes 8, so 8 is going to equal a times, well, x is -1, so -1 times -1 minus 3. Okay, so 8 is going to equal a times, okay, well, that's, this bracket becomes -4. -4 times -1 is +4. Okay, so I need to divide both sides by 4. Okay, so a equals 2. Okay, so the equation for this guy is going to be y equals 2x times x minus 3. Okay, next one. Okay, so we are given a turning point. Okay, so the turning point equals 1, 6. Therefore, h equals 1, k equals 6. Okay, so y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Therefore, y equals a times x minus 1 squared plus 6. Okay, again, I got to sub in my second point. So I'm going to sub in. So I'm going to find a, basically, by subbing in 0, 8. Okay, so y is 8. When y is 8, x is 0. Okay, so I'm just going to simplify this. Okay, 0 minus 1 is -1. -1 squared is 1. So a times 1 is a. Subtract both sides by 6. Sorry, subtract 6 from both sides. Okay, so a equals 2. So therefore, y equals 2 times x minus 1 squared plus 6. Okay, guys, so that's getting the equation of a quadratic from a graph.